Hello and welcome back to the Demis Hellen channel. We're back with another arpeggio video, and this is the August edition. If you've missed any of the previous videos, you can check them on screen right now. Otherwise, you can check them out in the description after this one. The approach to this arpeggio is going to be slightly different to what we've done before, so hopefully this workflow might work for you better and you may be able to create better ones from this point. The idea of these videos is to give you ideas, and you can use this as well if you like. Just copy the MIDI on screen. And with that said, let's get started on the video. All right, to get started, we have our first layer, and we're just going to use the PL overheat, the top one. These are just duplicates underneath for the different layers, so don't worry too much about those at the moment. This is just focusing on this sound. And just as a quick mention, these presets that you hear today are coming from my new pack, Serum Trance Essentials Volume 2. You can head over to myloops.net, it's an exclusive over there, and there might be even a discount at this moment in time. And if you just check the description or check for anything that floats around on screen, you might see a discount code as well. Okay, so let's get started on this. This is the pattern that we are using here. So there is some regularity to this, but it's over a 2-loop section, so each side is the same on these 4 bars. So we've got 2 sets of 2 bars essentially. So to get started on this, we're going to use these 2 notes here that are rolling together. And we're going to put one on G and one on C to get us started. And then we're going to do a little bit of a climb here. We're going to allow these 2 notes to hit A, and then we're just going to climb the chromatic scale for the first part. So you can see it's starting to take shape, and then I'm going to take this A and put it 1 octave up and use just this one here to the E like so. So we've got a nice little rotation going on and it's dropping back down to here nicely. But for this demo, we are going down to F here, and we're going to use an E to slide in to that F there. So you can see we've got this E here, and then we're just doing an octave down, and that's going to give us a nice little roll into the F. And then we drop this one to E, and then we can go up to B with this one and G. So with the placement of B and G there, you can hear that the melody is wanting to progress somewhere else and kind of raise back up to this point, so we get that full circuit. So what we're going to do is take these 2 notes, one on C, one on B. So now you can hear that I've brought it back up to the top, but we're going to fall back down briefly and then come back up with the final few notes. So I'm going to take this to a G, these 2 to an A, and then I'm going to do a little roll on B and C. But remember, if you want to create your own sort of melodic sequence, you can use this pattern and create a different melody if you want to. So don't just feel you're restricted to these notes. If you think something sounds better, then change it, make it your own. So now, I agree that could be better, but for now that is what the melody is. That's fine, but feel free to change it if you need to. All right, so that is now done. We can just jump out and make a duplicate copy of that, so we have an original to go back to. If you make any mistakes, you can just go straight back to it. And we're going to put some chords in here. So the chords for this one are going to simply be an A, because we are in A minor. We're going to go down to a G, down to an F, repeat the F, and then we're going to go back up to a G there, and that is our chord scheme. Okay, so I'm going to make another duplicate copy, so I'm going to drag that to there. So now we've got the chords with the melody, and we've got the melody on its own. And then we can jump back in here and we can start recording our second part of this arpeggiated sequence using these notes. So we're going to fill the gaps with this, and we're going to do the A and the C into the gap and do this. So we're going to get this effect. And what I'm going to do is just fill in the gaps based on that. And where you get a gap of just one, delete that. Obviously don't have any overlapping notes. And you can see again, we've got a note up here. So we need to chop that down. And then if we move that to there, we've got that filled, and then we put one more there and we've got our full loop. And with the breaks here, so we don't have it rolling all the time, it loosens up the groove a little bit and just gives it a little bit of character instead of it just being this sort of standard arpeggio just rolling through the entire thing. So we're going to do the same for this one. This one is slightly different because we've got different notation positions, as you'll see now. So by the time we got to the third copy there, we only have one note because it repeats, whereas this one doesn't at this point. If we check up there, it is rolling right across like so. And it's going to be like that. And I'm going to remove this G here because we've got an E which rolls up into that F there. And then for the rest of it, we can just copy that same pattern across and move it into position. So we had an F chord for this one. And then we had still an F chord for this one. And then we rose to a G. I'm preempting the G there just because it's so close to the bar start. It just makes it sound a little bit more seamless and natural. So that is sounding great. We can manipulate velocities as well if we want to, but for now we're not going to focus on that, but that's going to give you more depth and intricacy into the sound. But what we're going to do is split these in two. So we have our PL overheat arp and PL overheat, and we'll just call this melody so you can see, or melody, that'll do, melody. And I'm going to chop the bass notes out of there, or should we say the secondary arp. So we just got the melody, and then I'm going to get rid of the melody out of this one. But now from that, we have independent control over two of them. So you'll hear this second one has a little bit of a phasing effect on it, and this one doesn't. That keeps the melody clean, and that makes the arpeggio sit underneath and do something a little bit different. So there we are, we have our completed melody. So we can now copy this one to this and this one to this. So we have our duplicates and these are leads instead. So now in full layer. Alright, so that is complete. Obviously the original version doesn't have any velocity changes, and it is niggling me. I wasn't going to show you in this video with the velocities because we've covered it before, but let's just get this quickly sorted. So there is velocity control in this particular sound. As you can see here, I've got velocity attached to a source. If we look in the matrix, I've just attached it to the global amp, and at the moment it's not very responsive, and I want it to be a little bit more responsive. So instead of tweaking that, I'll show you a quick way you can get around it. I'm just going to bring my levels down because they're pretty much equal, and I'm just going to attach velocity onto those two. So it's just giving us some major volume difference there from that halfway point to nearly full. So now if we jump back in here and just change our velocities, you can hear that we can obviously manipulate how that's working. So I'll just quickly do that for you and then I'll come back. So here we are, we've done the velocities now and we've got some movement, so it sounds a little bit better. So what we really need to do here with the velocity is just add a little bit to our filter. So I'm just going to drag and drop that onto the filter. Now we get a little bit more diversity with the sound. And then we can just increase the overall level. That's sounding a little bit looser now. Whether you agree it sounds better or not is entirely up to you, but we're going to drag that down as well to the lead clean AF. And that's sounding a lot looser, so I'm a little bit happier with that. So in terms of these chords here, these are just derived from the original chords. So that's why I said make a duplicate. So we've got these chords, and obviously I've just stretched and sustained them to get the pad. You can see that's stacking up nicely, and then we just drag and drop the sub, and we now have the pad and the sub together. then all together, sound a lot more cohesive and just has a nice feel to it. So there we are, that is the August arpeggio sequence. And if you did enjoy the video, please consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed. And if you have any questions about what you've seen in today's video, let me know down in the comments. I'll be happy to answer anything you have in regards to this tutorial. And with that said, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all in the next video.